It's time for the Fantasy Football Guys. Get ready to call. It's the Saturday Q&A show. Here they are.
Here we are.
Lyle Conkeal and Kevin Moore. The Fantasy Football Guys.
Welcome to Saturday morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're the Fantasy Football Guys. Kevin.
Lyle.
And we are streaming live on our own YouTube channel. That would be the Fantasy Football Guys channel. Yes, you can check us out on SoundCloud as well. And also, of course, on the iTunes podcast thing. Yeah. Generally where people get us. Also other places like Stitcher.
Very well said.
TuneIn Radio. Well, you know, it's Saturday, for God's sake. I've said like 10 words all morning.
Right.
So it's the last week of the season, week 17. Probably not a whole lot of fantasy stuff going on. Of course, DFS happens all the time. That would be daily fantasy.
Right.
That happens all the way through the SB, if you know what I'm saying.
I do. And goes on after that, just not football.
Just not football, that's right. Speaking of which, the Fantasy Hockey Guys continue to do their awesomeness on Wednesdays, usually Wednesdays. You can check them out at, of course, on SoundCloud at the Fantasy Hockey Guys and on Twitter at
FH Guys.
FH Guys. That's right. Is it the FH Guys or just
it's just FH Guys?
At FH Guys.
At FH
It'd
Guys.
be Fantasy Hockey Guys. That's right. And you can check us out there, of course, at TFFG and on Facebook at the Fantasy Football Guys. Blah, blah, blah. So,
yeah.
some news to get to today.
This might be the briefest of shows today.
Could be. Not anticipating a lot of calls.
We might not get any. We only have a couple questions. So we're going to run through some news, do some questions, probably BS a little bit, and then if nobody calls in, we're out.
Yeah. So, this could be a pretty brief one. But, you know, we have lots of stuff planned for coming up, with the playoffs. We're going to run our usual NFL.com.
Playoff leagues.
Playoff leagues.
So we'll get that information out this week, and probably Wednesday we'll talk about it.
Yeah, and by the way, if you won in our money league, I put this out there. It's like, hey, hit me on instant message.
The person who won is
to let me know, your PayPal stuff and
didn't get it yet.
Crickets. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Really want to give you money.
Yeah.
There's 3 people that got money coming. You gotta clue me in because I'm not going to go searching through all of our initial, hey, sign up.
Oh God,
to find your PayPal thing. Sorry, not going to happen. So
I'm just glad I didn't have to pay for fantasy football in our main money league this year. That was nice, winning the consolation.
It was nice winning third. I actually made $80.
Yeah, I made a few bucks. Yeah, that is nice. But
of course, I had to pay $360 because I have 2 kids in the league.
Right.
Oh,
they don't foot their own bill?
Well, they foot half of it.
Okay.
So it wasn't quite $360.
Now, if they win, do you deduct? No, you don't.
I don't.
Yeah. Sucker.
Well, what am I, an asshole?
Sucker. Yes.
Yeah, but not
Quite a
with
big
them.
one.
Not
Okay,
with them.
fair enough.
With you, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll squeeze every nickel out of you.
Well,
for them, not so much.
good luck, pal.
Hey, this just in. Marshawn Lynch expected to be back with the team on Monday.
Interesting.
Possibly ready for the first playoff game.
I don't know that they need him.
Well, they probably do. When Rawls was there, they didn't.
I know.
But
I'm just saying that the offense. I know St. Louis beat them up, but again, division rivalries and stuff. But the offense has been pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Without him. So that's the only point I'm trying to make.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Let's talk about the Browns for a minute because
I really hate that they're going to fire Pettin.
Well, because he from all reports, he came right on and asked the owner, "Can you tell me about my future?" And the owner refused to answer him.
Right.
So what does that mean?
That's a pretty good indication that you're going to get.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. You know what? You look at all the head coaches they've had, and they've had some bad ones, and they've had some good ones. I think Pettin's a good one. Now, who knows about internal stuff and whether the owner actually has a good working relationship with him, et cetera. But, you've got players and especially young quarterbacks, you can't just switch, coaches and systems every couple of years because it's not going to work for them.
I think they could give him another year. I mean, I think that he's done some good things there. Obviously, their record has been atrocious. And but the thing is, when you have coach turnover like this, you're not going to land another big name. You have to get lucky, basically, because nobody wants to come there.
Right.
So they go, well, I got 2 years.
Yeah, and this is what they're giving me now. Yeah, keep Pettine. Make some changes with the coordinating staff, etc.
Yeah.
Hire a new GM, maybe.
Right. Director of player personnel or something.
Something, yeah, because obviously they're not getting the best players in. That's not Pettine's fault.
That's not. I mean, I'm sure he's involved in scouting some, but
it would be smart for the GM and the scouting folks to ask him his opinion.
It's organization wide, though. But I like some of the people they have there. I absolutely love Travis Benjamin.
Yeah.
I think that Duke Johnson's going to be a good running back in the NFL. And I mean, it takes time to do. I'm not sure about Manziel. I'm not sure.
I think he's got the skills. Whether or not he has the trust of the team, et cetera, who knows?
A lot of speculation that Chip Kelly might end up there to work with that mobile quarterback. I know I mentioned this the last show we did, but I read another article where they were like, the path to Chip Kelly, getting his offense back on track, and it was Cleveland basically.
Well,
one of the few teams I could see giving Kelly a shot.
The Titans being another.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think every opening,
but why
opening.
Why would the Titans move on though? They're an organization that's, I think putting pieces together.
I don't know.
Well,
I think they need to move on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they've kind of moved on already.
Well, not 100%. No.
Yeah. But I think that, every coaching opening there's going to be Chip Kelly speculation. Just because he's probably the hottest coaching name out there.
I disagree with that. I think that...
Dude, how many days have you looked at sports news over the last 4 days, and not seen Chip Kelly?
That's true. It's a very hot story, but I don't think he's one of the hottest coaches. Like if New Orleans moves on from Sean Payton, I don't think Chip Kelly's even in the conversation. I don't think they look at him and go, yeah.
Dude, but you know that NFL Network and ESPN and everybody else, if there's a coaching vacancy, the words Chip Kelly are going to spill off people's lips in relation to it.
That's probably true.
Now, Sean Payton may as well, and others can as well.
Right. Pretty much anybody on Carolina.
Right. Exactly.
All the way down to the quarterback coaches. And
Seattle as
yeah,
well. I mean, they've been a hotbed of coaching opportunities. So
New England, of course.
Yeah, Josh McDaniels is going to be out there. Adam Gase is going to be out there. But, dude, if there's an opening, Chip Kelly, even in college, Chip Kelly's name is going to be attached to it.
If it's high profile enough, you're probably right. But I just don't see him being a very good coach. I know maybe I'm misreading it. Maybe I'm bitter about it. But I don't think he's that good of a coach. So I think it takes a desperate organization to turn to somebody like him.
I think it's going to be, and at this point, who knows what he's going to demand?
Yeah.
He may say, I have to have total control or I'm not coming, in which case he'll have to go back to college.
Yes, he will.
In my humble opinion.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that, too.
Pardon. Yeah, so anyway, let's see here. Brandon Marshall says he's still angry about how things ended with Chicago.
Yeah, he's pretty bitter, and it's funny because in the same series of articles I was looking at, Matt Forte was like, "I look back with nothing but smiles."
He's still there, and he'd like to come back. He doesn't want to sell his house.
Yeah,
So
I just think that's funny that
if you could be rich in a city, Chicago's not a bad one to be rich in.
It's not a bad city.
Yeah.
I mean, are there any bad cities though if you're rich? Oh, Cleveland? Detroit probably would suck.
Dude, I really liked Cleveland.
Yeah, was it cool?
Yeah. I kind of liked the feel of the city. It was small town.
My wife has family in Ohio. It's not Cleveland, but it's like a really crappy part of Ohio.
And Columbus was nice too.
Yeah, I just hear so many bad things about Ohio. So
well, for me being a guy who was born near a very large body of water called the Atlantic Ocean,
right? Being
landlocked like that, I know you got Great Lakes, but it's not the same.
It's not.
I've seen Lake Erie. I wasn't impressed.
No.
Yeah. You know what? Atlantic Ocean.
It's pretty impressive.
What, the ocean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both oceans are pretty impressive.
Well, yeah, in every
on the sides
body of water
of America, anyway.
Yeah. So,
I've seen some lakes where I was like, wow.
Well, Erie was great.
Yeah.
It's a great lake. Anyway, yeah.
That was terrible.
Well, of course it was. It was awfully terrible.
So, dude, did you see this thing where the NFL was ordered to refile Deflategate appeal because they used the wrong color cover sheet?
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it when an organization steeped in bureaucracy gets caught up in bureaucracy.
How many lawyers do they have, and they can't even get that right?
Well, who knows, man? I think it's funny that that it's going to be. You know, Jamie's earning $20 today for really doing
nothing.
absolutely
We're gonna
nothing.
we're gonna get no calls, and he's gonna catch his $20. But
It's more than possible. We're talking to ourselves too. But anyway, 650-733-8334, the number to call.
If you want to call, you better do it real fast.
Yeah, and we can just chit chat about whatever. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to ask us advice. We can talk about beer and chicks if you want.
Yeah, if you want to, I'm totally fine with that.
So here's the thing, dude.
It does look like Mularkey is. I just saw this article you must have been referring to, that he's bracing for changes. I mean, any interim coach probably should, I guess, but I think that's a shame, because I feel like had the team been healthy all year, I think they would have had a pretty decent season. Not great, right, but moving in the right direction. I mean, Mariota, I think, is going to be a very good quarterback in the NFL.
I do too.
I really do. I think he may not be the caliber of Rodgers and Breeze and those guys. It's too early to tell yet, but I think he's going to be good. And somebody that you build an organization around.
Well, if you look at there's degrees of good when you're talking about NFL quarterbacks. Obviously, you're talking about future Hall of Famers like Peyton Manning,
right?
Tom Brady, Drew Brees, right?
Aaron Rodgers,
and there's some guys.
Eli Manning.
Well, yeah, kind of. But you can also see guys who are kind of headed that way. Luck kind of falls into that category.
Maybe bad season.
Cam is Newton. Close to that. Mm-hmm. There's a few others as well.
I think Palmer, if he continues to play well and stay healthy, I mean, he had a blank spot in his career.
If he hangs the Super Bowl up on his resume, I think that could help. But he's
Russell
marginal.
Wilson's probably one of those guys that's on that trajectory. Too early to say, but he's on the path anyway.
Right, but then there's second tier guys. There's the Flaccos of the world.
Alex Smith.
Right, who are good and serviceable. They'll win you a Super Bowl.
Damn right,
like Flacco did.
Yeah,
but they're not guys who are Hall of Fame type players.
No, they're not. And then you have the suck bowls.
You've got the Tannehills now.
Right.
Whether he
might
can
turn
good.
it around, but like Kaepernick is a great example of a guy who showed all this promise and then just totally flamed out because he just wasn't a very good quarterback.
Yeah, second read, can't make it.
Can't make it. Great with his legs and stuff, but just couldn't.
And who knows? In the right system, he may do okay. Perhaps a
Maybe.
Chip Kelly system.
Maybe, yeah, mobile quarterback. That's what he's all about.
Now, speaking of Cam Newton, he has a newborn son named Chosen, I believe, Chosen Sebastian Newton. And
wow.
Newton says he's already getting offers from my colleges.
Really?
I'm sure
funny.
it's a joke, of course.
I'm sure it is too,
but it's pretty funny. He's like, he's already got some D1 offers.
When you have elite athlete blood in your veins and DNA. Look at the Currys in basketball, man.
Yeah.
And Del Curry was okay. I mean, he wasn't. I don't remember him being a dominant force.
Good enough to be in the pros for a lot of years.
Yeah, but his kids are unbelievable. I mean, Steph is probably he's super young. They're talking about he's the greatest shooter in NFL or in NBA history.
Dude,
I know he's insane.
Just raining
I watched
threes
I watched this whole sport. No, we're talking about basketball now.
Who cares? Nobody's listening.
I know, but I watched this whole sports science thing about him and his release time.
Yeah. He's up and gone with it.
Dude, he from the point where he stops to the point where he lets the ball go is like 0.6 seconds, right? And because he's short, he has this trajectory of the ball that goes really high and comes down. And when it's coming down like that, it's got a larger radius to sink. So that's why he's so successful. Right. And dude, they analyzed his crossover too, and compared it to Michael Jordan's, and it was like ridiculously faster and like all this stuff, man. That show, by the way, or a segment anyway, on SportsCenter or whatever, is just fascinating.
But you like science and stats.
They analyze all that crap.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I think it's not just the fact that they've got pro athlete genetics, which is, don't get me wrong, very important.
Yeah.
But I also think that the fact that because they have a parent who was in that same sport or just in sports in general, they have the opportunities to go to camps and be around it and
work with elite coaches, elite players. Also, they have a lot of people around them who went through those same steps too, so they can tell them what to avoid and how to advance in certain things if they get hung up. How to heal. Like all this kind of stuff.
And, they probably didn't have to, really talk too hard to get dad to go out and shoot some baskets with him.
No, it probably happened all the time.
And that's probably why he has such a high trajectory trying to shoot over the old man.
Maybe, yeah. When he was little.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, that dude's just amazing. But
yeah.
Anyway. we digress like
We're rocking into basketball.
like crazy. Well, hey man, football season's winding down. I do like to watch some hoops, particularly college. I don't like pro hoops as much as I used to because the Sixers are just terrible.
Yeah, when your team sucks, it's kind of hard to.
And they've been that way for a long time. I want to talk about Mario Williams though for a while.
All right,
dude. So they're saying he's totally checked out, and why? What is happening?
I think he's getting to the back end of his career a little bit.
Really?
And yeah. I mean, when you're playing out the string, and it may be your last game with the team, you're really looking.
He's only 30 years old, dude.
I know, but
that's not very old for a defensive end.
It's not, but
he's probably got another 5 years in him, another nickel, something like that.
Maybe, but he's not going to be able to play at the level he was known for all of those 5.
Well, that's probably true, and he didn't have a great season.
Right, and he's probably gone out of Buffalo because he's going to cost too much next year.
Yeah, and he didn't have a great season.
He's really looking forward to Monday when he can pack and go.
Well, that's kind of a bummer because I feel like that organization, and I'm really excited about that too, because I'm just tired of New England being on top. And I know it's probably going to be another half decade before they're done.
Dude, I don't know. The Jets look really good now.
They do.
About now.
They do, but I don't think that they are sustainable because they have an aging defense. They have a quarterback who's pretty much on his way out too. Yeah, I don't know. How many more years does Fitz have? And they have 2 older wide receivers too, which are the bulk of their offense. So
right, but you know what? They have a good head coach.
They do.
They have an owner that's willing to spend money.
Yep.
And good senior staff. So you know what? That's how it's built, dude.
Mm-hmm. But I also think the Buffalo is a team on the rise.
Well, yeah, probably.
I mean,
we have a call.
We do. Okay.
Let's
look at that.
Somebody called to talk to us. Let's talk to Joe in Missouri. What's up, Joe?
What's up, Joe?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Great.
It's all right. Thanks for calling and breaking up our little love fest.
Yeah, we started talking about basketball.
Yeah, it was rough.
Oh, sorry guys.
No, it's all good. What's up?
I got a couple problems. It was just the rain and 13 points last week for my fantasy team. I had Tom Brady, D'Angelo Williams, and Antonio Brown all got 13 points. So trying to bounce back this week. So, I was going to see what you guys think about Jordan Reed for starting tight end or flex because they're saying he's only going to get 5 points. But if he plays one quarter, he could get like 30. So
yeah. So I don't know what your other options are, but I'm going to tell you right now that Jordan Reed is viable as both. Either.
Yeah, last week I played Barnage at tight end and Reed in my flex, and it won me the game in third place money. So, yeah, I would put Reed somewhere in the lineup.
Guy has 5 touchdowns in his last 3 games.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to sit that dude.
Even if he only plays a half, you look at it this way. This last week, he really only had one half of football.
Yeah.
Because he almost disappeared in the second half. So he had 2 touchdowns in the first half.
Yeah.
And then that's good enough. He was at 30 points at that point. So I was like,
yeah,
feel free to sit.
So, okay. But what are your other options, though?
I was going to say, I have a running back problem, too. I got James White and D'Angelo Williams. Of course, I'm going to play Williams.
Yeah.
But White, I don't know if I want to play him or Matt Forte. So
is this a PPR league?
It is.
Yeah. See, man, dude, the Dolphins are actually dead last against fantasy running backs. So White is a very solid play. Forte's questionable with his back right now. He has a pretty good matchup, too, against the Lions, and historically he does pretty well against them.
Okay.
Since you're trying to I'm assuming you're in a 2-game playoff. Are you trying to make up a deficit?
Yes.
Yeah, I would roll the dice on White then, because there's a very strong possibility that Forte is limited because they have Jeremy Langford. So even if he does play, he might be limited. You got Langford too, huh?
It changes things a little bit.
It does. Well, I think that if Forte doesn't play, you got to play Langford.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep an eye on that. If they're game time decisions, whatever. Questionable. If he's questionable, chances are Forte is going to play.
You think Forte's going to? I mean, if Forte plays, I would roll the dice on James White just because you need to make up a deficit. There's,
right.
There's a very good possibility that will blow up in your face, but he's playing the dead last ranked defense against running backs, so maybe he blows up and something good happens.
How many points down are you?
Maybe 32 because of Arizona's freaking defense. So
Yeah.
There's definitely dice rolls necessary.
But if Forte does not play, I would certainly play Jeremy Langford. So I think that's what I would
definitely
do.
keep that in mind, guys.
All right, man.
All right, bro.
Good
All
luck,
right,
dude.
appreciate you.
Yeah, I hope it works out for you, man.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Yes.
Look at that. We did get a call.
Yeah, it's nice. I like that.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised.
Speaking of injury reports, I saw that Gurley is probably going to be out this
He's
week.
out, yeah.
Yeah, just because, he's got an injury. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're looking forward to the future. Why risk him?
That's an organization, too, that I think is moving in the right direction. I mean, I don't think Nicky Foles worked out for them the way they thought he would. But
Well, that's a both sides of that exchange didn't work out so well.
That's absolutely true. But if you think about in terms of a team that, is battling hard and, like I look at some teams that suck and I just feel like they kind of check out, but you look at the way they played Seattle, right? And I wouldn't call that a big, rivalry in sports. I mean, I know it's divisional, but I wouldn't call it like a huge thing.
Yeah.
Right. But
it's not a marquee.
Dude, they came into that game like ready to play, dude, and they whooped them. They beat them up.
Yeah, I think it's when you look at team trajectory, I think it's important because people are like,
and dude, they beat Arizona too.
Gus Bradley's like 6-25 in his 3 years with the team, and Chip Kelly's 26, and they're comparing records, saying Chip gets fired, the other dude gets an extension. The difference is team trajectory.
Yeah.
Jacksonville is a team on the rise.
On the rise.
They've got their quarterback who blew up this year.
He played really well.
Their two wide receivers who blew up this year.
Drafted a young running back.
They've got the tight end now.
Yep. Orange Julius.
Turquoise
Julius.
Turquoise, Thomas. Anyway. So then they have their pieces.
Right.
They have their running back.
Yeah.
They have their second running back.
Yep.
And now they just need to start working on lines and defense and things like that. And you know what? 2 years from now, look out, dude.
Yeah, Jaguars might be really strong because they have a bunch of young players, man. And I honestly think Bortles is probably one of those guys that's going to stay in that second tier. Maybe he'll make the leap at some point, but he's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. Maybe not great, but good. And he had a very, very solid season this year. So I think there's nothing but promise.
I would say a surprising season.
I think you were surprised by it. I wasn't as surprised.
Well, I kind of was because I wasn't, I knew how good Robinson was. I wasn't sure what Hearns was going to be.
Well, remember his first game against the Eagles? Hearns had like 3 touchdowns.
Well, last year.
The first game of the year last year. Yeah.
Right, but that's a game, and it's the Eagles, and they suck, so it's hard to gauge it. So,
True.
But I wasn't sure what he was going to do this year. But, dude, even struggling with injuries and going to doctors out of town, come back and catch 2 touchdowns. It's,
Yep. But Bortles, guy threw for he's at 4,200 yards right now. He's got 35 touchdowns through the air, another 2 on the ground, 90 QB rating, right, for a season. I mean, that's an All-Pro season.
You can also say that maybe he's this year's Tannehill,
maybe,
and next year he'll backslide.
But he played a lot better this year than Tannehill did last year.
He did, yeah.
I mean, Tannehill was, I think, 10th. Bortles is up there. I don't know where he is, but I would be shocked if he's not in the top 5 in fantasy scorers.
You speak, and I'll effort that.
You go ahead. But, I mean, when you look at quarterbacks, I think that we have become accustomed to expecting them to be good their first season. He was drafted 2014, so this is year 2, and look how good he is. I think
he was a rookie last year.
Yeah,
wow.
He was the 3rd pick overall.
Wow.
Last year in the 2014 draft. So if you think about how much he's progressed in 1 year, and you want to talk about trajectory, yes, that's exactly what we're talking about. This team is a team on the rise. Chip Kelly, yes, he won some games his first 2 seasons, but he dismantled the team. And then he started going down, and now they were mediocre. And I wouldn't even call them mediocre. I think they're just flat out bad, and they got lucky in some games, like in New England.
Yeah.
When you return 3 things for touchdowns.
Things? Punt.
It was a block punt, a punt run back, and then a pick 6.
Yeah.
Right. So when you do that, when your defensive special teams does that for you,
it's hard to lose.
It's kind of hard to. And dude, they still almost lost that game.
They did.
Give Brady, another crack. I mean, I know he had one at the end, but I think they win it by a touchdown.
It was close.
Yeah.
So here we go. In our main money league, which is basically what we scrub everything else against because
Yeah.
it's pretty standard.
It's a half
for
peeper.
quarterbacks.
It's a half peeper.
Yeah, but that doesn't affect quarterbacks.
No, it doesn't.
But it's six points for a touchdown, 1 point for every 50 yards passing.
Right.
Next year we're going to 1 for 25 and 4-point touchdowns for
4-point
quarterbacks. So Cam Newton first with 364.48 points.
Okay.
Which far outpaces Tom Brady's second place, 339.22. And then third is Blake Bortles,
Blake
at 319.
Yeah, I tell you, it wouldn't shock me if he was in the top
4
five.
Russell Wilson, 5 Carson Palmer.
Yeah, doesn't shock me, man. And do you think, was Bortles even drafted this year? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't drafted in our league. There's no way. I'd be shocked. Kevin actually has the draft list here from our.
Well, it's a keeper league. I have to.
From
now.
our league, right? You have to hold on to it. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But
No, he wasn't drafted.
he wasn't drafted. I didn't think so. So I mean, look at that. Look at that production out of the quarterback spot that you could have gotten. You know, had you drafted him in the last round or something like that.
Poor Robbie took Tannehill in the ninth.
And I would keep an eye on this. Wow. Well, I mean, I don't think that was a bad pick.
I think the best quarterback pick though
Yeah.
was me getting Carson Palmer in the 13th.
13th. Yeah. Beautiful pick. So, but I think this is also something that you want to keep an eye on for next year. Winston, Mariota, those guys are probably not going to be drafted very high. But that might be a mistake.
You know, I grabbed
If you
Palmer is my number 2.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's what you do next year. I think you draft a solid guy. You get somebody up there, you know, I don't know, maybe Tannehill again.
Maybe
or something.
Bortles in the 9th.
No, he won't make it to the 9th.
Yeah, I know.
I think he's going to be fairly highly drafted next year. 6th round, something like that, 7th round.
Probably.
But I think maybe you swing back around in the 13th and grab a Mariota and grab a Winston just to see if they don't. Look how bad Jacksonville was in 2014. They were terrible. Nobody talked about them.
And you know, when you look at their record, they're terrible now.
They are.
Because their defense is bad.
Right.
You know, et cetera.
But this is a team totally on the rise, man. And when it comes to fantasy, I don't really care how bad they are.
Yeah. In fact, I want them to have to come from behind.
I just look at how many points they score, and it's a lot. You know?
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot. They score a lot of points. So, yeah, I think that's something to pay attention to.
Yeah, looking at the quarterback list here, you know, a guy like Kirk Cousins,
Yeah.
you know, is only 100 points behind the top guy.
Right.
Now you divide
That's
that
magic
over
formula.
You divide that over 16 weeks. It's not a lot.
It's not a lot. And that's the whole point of the magic formula.
Right. Don't go quarterback early because you can be, you know, 6 points below the top guy with the 10th guy.
Right. 6 points a week.
quarterback.
5 or 6 points a week, something like that. Whereas at running back or wide receiver, you might be, you know, 14 points, 15 points. And if you start adding that up, like say you drafted a tight end and a quarterback, now you're looking at a 30-point deficit that you're going to have to try to make up by scoring big with later round talent.
Right.
which-
By getting lucky with the Bortles or,
right.
you know.
Yeah. So that, you know, that just really does not compute.
Yeah, if you're lucky enough to get Barnage and Bortles, you know, as pickups, then you're going to be fine. But, you know, how many of them are there a year and, you know, where are you going to be in the waiver wire situation?
Right. Paul in the chat says, hey, guys, I'm in a QB quandary.
All right.
Thoughts on Cam versus Russell Wilson this week? Half PPR. Also, tight end question: Ben Watson or Zach Miller? I would play Zach Miller.
Yes.
Number one at tight end. I don't see how you can sit Cam Newton.
Well, my
He
problem.
scores so many points. I know that they might rest him or whatever.
I don't know. They
still-
want to be home.
They still have something to play for.
They
So
haven't clinched home. So
Right.
I think as soon as it's obvious that they're going to win or lose, I think he comes out.
maybe that's true.
Whereas,
But the guy has 14 touchdowns over his past 4 games.
I know you can't. If he's playing, you can't
Yeah,
sit him.
Now Wilson's good. He's got 14 as well. Holy crap! But he's playing the Cardinals,
Yeah.
which is a far worse matchup than Cam Newton has. They're both solid starts, you know, and they're both matchup proof. There's without a doubt. But you know, Cam's playing the Bucks. You know, he could light them up. So I think that, and they're going to keep Jonathan Stewart out another week, so he's going to continue to have to throw and do things with his feet. I'm not sitting the best quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah, you can't do it.
I'm not sitting him, and he's in a meaningful game. So I think there's a fair chance they don't rest him.
And hopefully it remains meaningful all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Let's go to the phone.
All right, we got another call.
It's Tom Saturday. Tom is in Pittsburgh.
What's up, Tom?
What's going on there, Tom?
Happy New Year, gents.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you.
Sorry about Chip Kelly or congratulations, whichever way you look at that.
I'm happy. Kevin's middling.
Well, I was surprised. I understand the reasoning for it, and I was surprised that it happened when it did. I thought if he was going to go, it was going to be on Black Tuesday or Black Monday. But
right, right.
I get it, and I'm all right.
Yeah.
But see, now
I think
we don't have a quarterback now either, because who knows if the next guy's going to want to make a play for Bradford. So who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's just sad you had to lose some of your top playmakers, in the process. Because I think, had you even had one of those guys this year, Macklin or Deshaun Jackson or McCoy, this year would have maybe been a little different. But who knows? Maybe not.
That's true. I mean, you take one of the best offenses in the NFL and you get rid of the three most dynamic players on it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be bad strategy, right?
Yeah, let's get rid of Shady and the two best receivers.
Thing.
Yeah. I kind of understand why he did it, but I'm sorry that they're gone.
Yeah.
No, right. I get kind of where it was at. You want your own guys, but if you got to look at the talent, you're just, and they really didn't get a whole lot back for him either. I mean, Chico Alonso maybe, but he hasn't, through injury.
Yep.
And, underproducing. But
yeah, it's a bummer.
It's the league. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I said it's a bummer. That's all.
Yeah, it sucks. Hey, we might be joining you here in Pittsburgh if the old Bills don't win. So after last week's
man, I really want to see Pittsburgh get in.
Showing against the Ravens.
I think Pittsburgh's got a strong shot to go to the Super Bowl if they get in. I really do.
Get in, maybe.
I really do. That offense is just so powerful.
Yeah, it's gonna. It's
last week.
It's difficult. It's difficult to win all your games on the road, though. Yeah, I know the Giants did it, but when you're on the road for every game, Pittsburgh doesn't play well on the road.
I mean, dude, we'll see.
They just don't.
I'd like to see him get in. Because Big Ben's one of those guys we didn't mention, but he's totally a Hall of Famer. And we didn't mention him.
We didn't.
But he totally is. I'd like to see him get a third ring. Why not?
Yeah, but
Sevenberg.
Look, Tom. How does Ben play on the road this year? He sucks ass on the road this year.
He has. He really hasn't been good this year.
Yeah.
And in years past, he has played better. So it doesn't make sense. But one of those things, I guess.
Well, you got to remember that there was a report that I read earlier in the year that he was out for the season, and then he played that weekend. So I think his issues are injury related, not talent related.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just for whatever reason, overconfidence or, just hate to lose to the Ravens, I have a friend who's a Ravens fan, and you want to win those two games.
Right. I know.
Those are the only two you win all year.
Yeah.
You don't care about losing to Cleveland because you can say, well, that's just dumb luck.
A fluke, right?
But you lose to the Ravens, you have to hear about it.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So you won your league, didn't you?
Well, I did, yeah. So that was my question today. Do I go Lombardi Trophy, championship belt, or ring?
Oh, dude, I'm going with a belt, no doubt.
Got to go with the belt.
I'm coming in next year to John Cena's song. It's going to be like, his name is John Cena. And, dude, I'm coming in holding that belt over my head. I might even have some Ultimate Warrior bands around my buys. Tighten them all up.
And have some boys come with you so you can have an entourage.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you got to do it that way.
Yeah, dude, I would come. I might even get like a little smoke machine or something. I mean, if you have an opportunity to be an asshole to the rest of your league, you got to take full advantage of it, man. And I think the most obnoxious thing you could possibly do is have a giant championship belt.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, the ring you might wear more. I don't think you're going to rock the belt a whole lot. So if you want to be practical and roll around with a ring, that would be kind of cool. But there's no doubt in my mind I would be rocking the belt.
Got to go with the belt.
Got to go with the belt, dude.
So that anytime anybody gives you any sort of hell, you can just do the Aaron Rodgers belt.
Yeah, just put the belt on, man. Just be like, what? What are you guys talking about? Yeah. And we need to start doing that for our league, man.
We can get a belt.
Oh, dude, we should have a belt. that makes me so excited.
I'll send you the links. They have a couple nice, a few different sites and different styles. So
all right.
I'll post the Twitter link to you. And,
that's all. So, yeah, thank you, dude. That's amazing.
Want to touch base. Happy New Year, and I'll be listening. Looking forward to some shows in the off season. Thank you guys again for everything.
All right, man.
Sounds great,
Total
Tom.
welcome, man.
Thanks, man.
Later.
See
All
ya.
right. Be easy.
I muted him.
Of course you did.
Well, you know.
Dude, that sounds amazing, man.
Got to get a belt. And
Come on.
I think they're only. I'll buy it. They're like
Yeah.
$30.
Is that really what they are?
I don't know. Something.
Dude, I swear to God, that sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. You know, just
Yeah.
roll it. That little smoke machine. That'd be
Right.
so good. So good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, neither of us would be able to rock it. This
No,
year.
not this year. No.
Yeah.
But we'll see about next year.
We'll worry about it.
My strategizing drafting Jordy Nelson in the 17th round because we were talking about going keeper. Turns out league voted to go keeper, and I get to keep Jordy Nelson now for a 16th. That's amazing. That's what you call a home run.
Yeah, that's not going to be bad.
Yeah. So basically, I got a free wide receiver now when I'm starting out, and not only that, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL.
Well, before he got hurt, who knows how he's going to come back?
I think he'll probably be pretty good.
No, let's see. I picked Ingram with the third and traded him for A.J. Green, who was also taken in the third. So I may be keeping A.J. Green
That's
for
probably
a year.
yeah.
But then again,
If I could get him in the second round, I'd draft him. But that's kind of push value, though. You're not
yeah, it is.
like Palmer for a 13th might be sick, or for a 12th. I mean,
I'm looking at the guy. I got Devontae Parker in the 10th.
yeah,
He might be worth keeping because maybe not for next year so much, but the year after
the
that,
year
and the
after.
year after that.
Yeah,
You know, I got Carson Palmer with a 13th.
yeah, him for a 12 would be a pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, but he's 35, so who knows how long that's going to give me. But the
I would say
Devontae
that
Parker
next year
thing,
he's probably still going to be a top 5 quarterback. So
got Macklin in the 6th.
that's a pretty good pick too.
Yeah, so I got some choices.
You do.
I do. I got.
I had a lot of decent draft picks too, but there's no way I can get around with Jordy Nelson.
I got Martavis Bryant in the 5th.
Mm.
You know.
Another good selection.
Yeah, you know, I'm looking at all the good guys you got. You know, John Brown in the 8th. It doesn't matter. You're not keeping.
I can't keep any of them. I mean, I totally would keep John Brown for a 7th round pick. I think that's a very solid selection, but I have Jordy in the 17th.
Yeah.
So,
dude, you picked up Monty Ball in the 10th. How'd that work out for you this year?
I think he's still on my roster somewhere.
Oh yeah, you were hoping that the Patriots would pick him up mid-season, something.
No, I told you I couldn't get rid of him. Every time I'd put in for a waiver claim to drop him, I wouldn't get it. So I would go, well, I'll just keep him until next week so I can drop him as my waiver.
Right, as waiver fodder.
Right. Because I'd rather not just cut him and then,
Yeah.
So that's what I ended up doing.
So, by the way, if you like this show,
Yeah.
this is what the off season is going to be like.
Yeah, we're just going
We're
to
just going to be talking about
BS for a half hour and then
half hour. We're up at 37 already.
Are we?
And we have yet to get to the 2 questions that we do have.
we could do this all day.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
This is
man.
what we do.
Yeah, we could.
This is why we started a show 10, 11 years ago.
Yeah, we can talk about fantasy football for pretty much ever.
Ooh, the question we do have in the forum is for
It's a pretty good one.
Is for Commissioner hijinks.
Yeah. All right, let's
Here we
roll
go.
through it.
NYG Boys 72 says, so this week I played the commissioner for the championship. He tried to make a trade with his brother today, Golden Tate for Antonio Brown. So in return for that dirty move, me and my brother set up a trade for me to get Julio Jones for Jay Ajayi. Commissioner got mad, vetoes both trades. So for that dirty move, I'm going to beat him this week and then never play in this league again. It's 1 point PPR. Palmer versus the Seahawks or Hoyer versus the Jags.
I get the hesitation, right, of playing Carson Palmer against that really stout defense. But I want to remind you that on November 15th, they played in Seattle.
Yeah.
And Palmer threw for 363 and 3 touchdowns. That's when we started calling that team matchup proof. Remember, we were Sherman and Fitzgerald were talking smack.
Oh, yeah.
And Fitzgerald was like, yeah, I'm too old. You know what I mean? All that
No
stuff.
need to cover an old man.
Yeah, right. And they went off. So this team is totally matchup proof. He's Kevin just mentioned, the 5th quarterback in the NFL. You don't start Brian Hoyer over that dude. You play Carson Palmer.
You do. And, the thing is, they're trying to play for home field, too, because if they can get a win
Yep.
and, for some reason
Something happens with
the
Carolina.
Carolina Panthers lose, the road to the Super Bowl goes through
Arizona.
which
Yeah.
is,
It's a big deal. It's a big
they
deal.
definitely want that. So definitely him. So pick a wide receiver and a flex out of this stack. Manny Sanders, Demaryius Thomas, Lamar Miller, Allen Hurns, Martavis Bryant, Buck Allen.
I'm playing Bryant. And my flex, it is a PPR, so I lean receiver. man, those Denver receivers, they're so confusing because they're so back and forth. Like, I want to start. My initial reaction is to start Hearns, right?
I might start Hearns over Bryant.
No, I'm starting Martavis Bryant.
Dude, last week, Bryant 1 catch, 6 yards.
I understand that, but you know how good
Alan
he is.
Hearns, yeah, I do, but good and points don't. Alan Hearns got points almost regularly. How many down games has he had this year? Not many.
Not a few, yeah. I
Right.
mean,
Bryant, yes, he disappears.
Okay, fine. Well, let's go Hearns. Is Bryant in your flex now? Are you playing one of the Denver receivers?
Well, you were talking about how confusing they are, and I agree, they are confusing. Well, I actually wanted to look at Hearns to make sure I wasn't just talking
No, you're
about,
not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. He's had a very solid season.
Yeah.
Martavis Bryant is questionable though with an illness. Probably means he's going to play.
Right, they'll shoot him full of vitamin C.
You mentioned last week against Baltimore, but against Denver, the guy had 10 catches in a PPR, targeted 14 times. So he's pretty good. I mean, I think that you can't just immediately throw him out. Demaryius and Manny are both solid choices as well. I guess the obvious one
would be Demaryius.
Out of those two would be Demaryius, although Manny has been pretty consistent in his last 2 games. He's been okay. He's got a touchdown in each one of those. So I think the choice is between Demaryius and Martavis, though, Kevin. And I'm going to go Demaryius Thomas.
I can't argue with that. I mean, you look at Pittsburgh; they're playing to get in.
Here's why.
But
here's why.
Potentially,
PPR. Demaryius is consistently double-digit targeted.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look down the list of his targets, it's 12, 12, 14, 6, 13, 8, 10, 7, 11, 17. They're just targeting him constantly. So in a PPR,
as well they should.
Yeah, in a PPR, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So I think that we can safely start him over Martavis Bryant.
I agree.
So I think that's your 2 flex, or you're flexing your wide receiver.
You could make an argument for any of these guys except Buck Allen. I mean, you could probably make one for him too, but against the other guys on the list, I think he just drops off of it.
Yeah.
You can make an argument for Lamar Miller, but it would
probably not in a PPR.
In a PPR,
not with these other
names
names here. Yeah, I would go Demaryius and Alan Hearns. And as far as your league is concerned, here's the thing: if you want to keep playing in this league, and I don't blame you if you want to bail, that's totally fine. But if you want to keep playing, you need to make sure that they implement a trade deadline that happens before the playoffs start.
It should happen 2 weeks before.
It really should,
or even more. I mean, because quite frankly, you're not going to. A lot of guys will drop players before. I quit. I'm rage quitting and dropping all my players to the waiver wire. We don't do that either. We had a guy do that like 7 years ago, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was his last time playing.
Yep, he was out of the league.
Yeah, I mean, he was.
And I think that year, everybody agreed not to pick up any of those players, too.
Right. So if somebody, rage quits their players, a couple people picked him up, but we backed him right back out.
Yeah, we backed him out, yeah.
Yeah, so, and quite frankly, the last time I was in a league, and I've told this story a few times on the show, the last time I was in a league where there was, commissioner hijinks where he basically gave himself the championship. I, as a player in the league, fired the commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
Because you look at it this way: if an owner in the NFL really wants Goodell gone, Goodell's gone.
Goodell's gone.
Right.
Right.
If Jeff Lurie really wants Goodell gone, he will find support and Goodell will be gone.
Right.
So as an owner in the league, and this was a guy who was a manager in the company, I was like, you can't do this, man. This is the last league. This is the last time you're running this league.
Yeah.
Well, you can't make that decision. Yeah, I can. I'm taking over. You're fired.
Right.
So that's what you've got to do. Everybody else in the league knows what a dick move this guy tried. So maybe his brother won't vote against him, but everybody else will.
Yep.
All right. So, I don't know if you want to be the commissioner of this league. I wouldn't. It's difficult for me to play in a league I'm not the commissioner of because I'm a control freak. But I do,
Yeah.
Our dynasty league I'm not in control of, but the guy who is
Dolphbucks, he's very
steady Eddie.
He's very consistent.
Right. So, I don't know if you want to be commish, but you guys as a league need to talk about this guy's hijinks and make a move.
Yep.
If you want to keep playing in it.
Totally.
Honestly. So no calls. If you want to get in real quick, I would do it. 650-733-8334. You can be the last caller of the year.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I just got a text message. It might be important. Never mind, it wasn't. Tom says, greetings, guys. Hey, thanks for the better than substandard advice. To bench Ginn last week in favor of Macklin. Due to
Right.
that, Jordan Reed, Allen Robinson, a last-minute decision to find Forte in favor of Hightower. I'm currently sitting on a 129-83 lead heading into the final week.
You sat Forte in favor of Hightower. That was industrial-sized balls, buddy.
That is pretty ballsy.
And well done, by the way, with the big balls.
And yeah, so right, of course, the fact that we are playing in week 17 to begin with is testimony to the solemnly sworn duty to be as mediocre as possible in performing my league manager role in a 12-team standard league, somehow allowing a week 17 championship. Looks like a safe lead, right? Well, maybe not. My opponent's starting Big Ben in a must-win. Freeman against New Orleans, and Odell Beckham back from suspension. Here are my set starters: Cam, Allen Robinson, Tim Hightower, Jeremy Macklin, and the KC defense.
Looks good.
My lineup questions are: Latavius Murray is facing the KC defense, as well as losing Pro Bowl blocking fullback Marcel Reese to a performance-enhancing drug suspension. I had Rashad Jennings off of waivers, and I still have Forte on the bench. Need to start one. Well, Forte is questionable.
And here's the thing, dude. Rashad Jennings against the Eagles?
Yeah.
Playing out the string, just losing their head coach?
Yeah.
Even if Kelly was still there, I would play Rashad Jennings against this Eagles defense.
I don't hate it. Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, I think that if Forte plays, it's probably pretty tough to sit Forte. His last game maybe as a Bear.
I don't know, man. I want points.
He's a far better player than but he's got a big league, man. He doesn't need to roll the dice here. I think if Forte is starting, you start Forte. He's got a big lead, you know. He doesn't need to roll the dice on Rashad Jennings.
I don't see that as a dice roll, though.
I do. I would play okay, so it might be a split decision here, but if Forte plays, I would play him. If not, I don't hate Rashad Jennings.
The reason, looking for reasons to go in a direction, it's not a PPR, it's standard. So some of Forte's value goes away.
It goes down a little bit.
Right. And we saw David Johnson, light up the Eagles' defense. So
turns out he's pretty good though too.
Yeah, and so is Rashad Jennings. So
No.
I would, regardless of what kind of lead I have, I want points. I want to come over the top and express my dominance over the guy I'm playing. I play Rashad Jennings.
Sounded a little gay.
I didn't say I was wearing leather while I was doing it.
You were coming over the top and dominating the guy.
The guy under me.
So we disagree there. Mike Evans facing Norman. Also have Jordan Matthews and Ted Ginn. I don't hate playing Ted Ginn, but I'm not sitting Mike Evans.
No, I don't care.
Norman has shown that he can be had. Beckham just ate him alive. And Evans is very good.
Yeah, and they'll find ways to get Evans into space. So they'll move him down the line. They'll put him in motion. I mean, they'll find a way to get him.
Now, I don't mind Ted Ginn either, though, if it makes you nervous. But I would play Evans. Do you think that Jordan Reed plays? The Redskins seem to be leaning towards benching him. Most of the key starters. I think that he might just play a half or something like that. I think that's possible. I would probably still play him. He says I also have Eifert, who may be on a snap count. Dude, if Eifert plays, just play Eifert. I don't care if he's on a snap count. If you're nervous about Jordan Reed, he says he added Zach Ertz off of waivers. Would you start? Hell no. I'm not starting an Eagle. This week, I'm not starting an Eagle.
Yeah, we were reluctant to start Eagles when they were quote unquote stable.
Yeah.
Now, who knows?
Yeah, I'm not starting an Eagle.
I mean, a lot of these guys aren't even sure they're going to be there next year.
Yeah,
so.
if Eifert plays and you're nervous about Jordan Reed not playing, or you read a report that he's not going to play, just play Eifert. He's good enough that even if he's on a snap count, one of them might be a touchdown.
At least one.
Yeah. Next year, we'll have a normal Week 16 championship, but I promise to download the Week 17 podcast. If not, listen, so that at least you can increase your already substantial lead over Serial at the iTunes store. Anyway, yeah, we're crushing them.
Yeah, if you take, we have like 0.1% of the listenership Serial has.
Seriously, thanks for the great advice all season, and looking for any off-season content to get ready for next year, Tom in Westlake Village, California. And in the chat, Paul Stanley was asking, what is the format for the off-season? So, Kevin, why don't you enlighten?
Here we go. We are going to roll weekly Wednesday night shows through the big game in California.
Super Bowl.
Yeah. Then after the season, of course, we're going to do
we'll do a wrap-up show the week after that, too.
Right. We're going to do the league, through NFL.com.
Yep.
Starting, we're going to have forum posts out there so you can get your entry in. Also, we're going to run a weekly show until the week after the Super Bowl. Then we're going to go every other week all the way through to the end of July.
Yeah, and it might be a 15, 20-minute show.
Right. We're going to talk about, the draft. We're going to talk about, free
Off-season
agency,
news, free agency,
coaching moves,
coachings.
what all that can mean.
Yep,
all that kind of
to
stuff.
touch base, keep in touch, but we're not going to do it every week because there's really not a whole lot of content to speak of until training camp starts.
Right. In the past, we've taken the entire offseason off, and there's just too much to talk about when we get back, and we miss some of it. So.
Right. So we're gonna check in every couple of weeks and chit chat about that. And who knows, man? If something big happens, maybe we pop in and check in with you guys and talk about that. I mean, it ain't nothing for me to pop over here and sit down for 5 minutes and talk about a big news item. So we may do that as well. That it would have to probably be something pretty significant, but
right, like Drew Brees coming to the Eagles.
We'd probably do an entire hour on that.
Yeah. Well,
and it would just be Kevin going, oh.
That was
disturbing.
Extraordinarily disturbing.
Wow. But anyway, yeah, that's it. So, but the season's not over yet. We still got playoffs to go through. We'll be doing a weekly. This is the last Q&A show until the beginning of next season. But we'll still be doing the weekly Wednesday show. And Liz is going to call in and we do our playoff picks, which Kevin won last year, but
spanked those asses.
Yeah, I won the year before. And that's right. We'll do the NFL.com playoff league, which is always a lot of fun, very strategy oriented. So read up about that. And that we do a free league and a money league. So, and the money league is winner take all, I think, right?
It is,
and it's like $300.
Well, it's $10 to get in.
However many people
come
Usually
in.
we get like 35 people or so to come into it. So if it's 20, then it's $200, but it's winner take all. It's a $10 money league, and it's a lot of fun. And I've never won it.
No, well, the thing
it's
about
really
it
hard.
is
it's really
the strategy
so
is
lucky.
You get it's multipliers.
Right.
You have to pick the two teams you want in the Super Bowl and load up on those.
Right.
And that may mean you get no points for the first week.
Yep.
Yep.
If you think it's going to be, New England, Arizona, you might have to take a goose egg week one. But
you make up for that in week 2.
You get a 2 times multiplier in week 2, and then week 3 it's a 3 times, and then if they go to the Super Bowl, it's a 4x.
Right. So guys who win it generally have a strategy where a lot of their players are 0 points first week.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, bitches, we're out. If you want some money in the money league, hit me in the forum.
Yeah, or
I want to pay
email
you.
or somehow.
I want to pay you.
Right.
Pay that man his money.
Pay that man his money.
If you get that reference, you've seen Rounders.
It's not that hard of a reference. I think a lot of people have seen Rounders.
Yeah.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
John Malkovich.
Yeah. Great movie, man.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Ed Norton.
Matt Damon. Yeah, great flick, dude.
Yeah. All right, we're out. Have a good one. See ya.
Peace.